Thank you all for joining us for our men's basketball virtual pregame. We're so glad you took the time this evening to get excited for our Buffs to take on Arizona. We have an exciting agenda planned for this hour, and we have three really special guests that are joining us today to virtually meet and greet with you all. This pregame is a partnership between the CU Boulder Alumni Association, the Alumni C Club, and CU Athletics. And we're planning to host one more virtual pregame for our men's season and a couple more for our women's team. So we hope you join us for our future events as well. My name's Brennan Jones, and I'm the Associate Director of Events at the Alumni Association. I'm joined by my colleague, Pamela Dados, who I'm sure many of you have received communication from. Pam and Kimberly Orr, who I will properly introduce in a minute, have collaborated and worked hard to plan this event today, and you will be hearing from them throughout our program. So without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce Kimberly Orr, who will be facilitating our discussion with our alumni men's basketball players this afternoon. Kimberly is currently the Executive Director of the Alumni C Club and has been in that role for 2 years now. She's an alumna of the Leeds School of Business and earned her degree in marketing. And she has been an incredible partner with the Alumni Association this year, particularly during this virtual environment, helping us execute some really fun, exciting virtual tailgates for you all and pre-games. So without further ado, I will let Kimberly take it away.
Thank you, Brennan. It's so nice to see so many familiar and friendly faces. Thanks for joining us. And I would challenge you to turn on your camera. I know it's crazy, right? Looking at faces, but we have some wonderful alums joining us today, and I know they would love to see your faces as much as I would. There we go. Some shy people have turned on their cameras. Thanks, everyone. It makes a much nicer viewing experience. Well, it is my distinct honor and pleasure and privilege to introduce you to three great CU alumni basketball players from the men's basketball program. And I have the greatest job on the planet because I get to work with all of our former athletes. And it's going to be a fun hour that we're going to spend with you. So as I see some people are starting to put things in the chat, we welcome your questions. We will get to them throughout the program. And Pam's going to be monitoring the questions, and I'm going to be introducing some wonderful CU athletes. I am going to start with Mr. Chuck Williams, because the first question in the chat, Chuck, was all about you. So Chuck was a 3-year letterman at guard under Coach Sox Walseth from 1965 to 1968. He also is in the CU Athletics Hall of Fame. He was in the class of 2018, and he's got some wonderful memories to share with all of us. And to open up our event, Chuck, would you tell us a little bit, would you introduce yourself and share a little bit about the years that you played at CU, what you studied, and what you're doing now, please?
Well, thank you for having me, and hello to everybody. Go Buffs. Chuck Williams here, and I am from Denver. I went to East High School and played at CU as Kimberly mentioned, from 65 to 68. During that time period, freshmen weren't allowed to play varsity basketball at that time. So only played for 3 years. I studied physical education, got a BS and an MS degree in that, and just really enjoyed my time up. Certainly enjoyed my time up at CU. I see a few people on this Zoom meeting that I do know, longtime dear friends. But it's wonderful to be here and to share this with the other young men on this Zoom meeting.
Thank you, Chuck. We appreciate that greatly. So also joining us, we have Dwight Thorne II. Dwight played for CU from the 2009-2010 seasons. He is currently an assistant basketball coach at Denver University. In fact, they played today, and congratulations on your overtime win, Dwight.
Thanks, Kimberly. I appreciate it. It was a hard-fought victory. You know, it's been tough to come by this year, but thank you.
Well, I really
Uh,
appreciate you making time. So same question for you. Would you introduce yourself, share a little bit about the years you played at CU, who was your head coach, and what did you study?
I will do that for sure. My name is Dwight Thorne II, as Kimberly just stated. So I want to say thanks for being here. It's always good to be around fellow Buffs, alum, season ticket holders. So thanks for your time. 06 to 10 was probably a what you would call it's like sort of a rebuilding season for Colorado basketball to where they are now. So my biggest memories, my freshman year we beat Oklahoma State. They were top 5 in the country. And then I think my sophomore year we beat Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma with Blake Griffin and a couple other really good players, and they were top 10 in the country. So those are probably my 2 biggest memories. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I came here as a 17-year-old and left as a 21-year-old man. I think probably the biggest thing I got from University of Colorado was I met my wife. And my wife and I have been together for, 13 years now? We've been married for 4. So that was the biggest thing that come from the University of Colorado. I am forever in debt to the University of Colorado for that. Right now, as Kimberly said, I'm currently coaching basketball at the University of Denver, where Roddy Billups is our head coach. And as you guys know, he's a former assistant for Coach Boyle. Played for Coach Ricardo Patton for 1 year, and I finished up playing with Jeff Busdelic in 2010.
Thank you very much, Dwight. We really appreciate you being here. And it's nice to have another Denver local person with us today. And last and certainly not least, to join us from the men's basketball program, we have alumnus Carlin Brown. And Carlin played for the CU Buffs in 2011 and 12. And he's got some great history playing in some pretty cool tournaments. So Carlin, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? What are you doing now? And tell us something about the years where you played at CU. And we know that you played for our current coach, Coach Tad Boyle.
Yeah, like the other gentleman before me, thank you for having me. It means a lot to be a part of the program and to give back and to share these stories and have these events with everybody that's been a part of the whole journey. And unfortunately, unlike the 2 before me, I only had 1 year at CU, but I think it was a really memorable year, a great year. And kind of like Dwight was saying before we got on the call, kind of helped build it to where it's at now. But yeah, my fondest memory was winning the Pac-12 championship and coming together with a group of guys as we were coming into a different conference with not much notoriety, not much respect, and shocking the world, so to speak. So had some highlights, had some fun plays during that time, but I think it was more so about the bond and continuing that bond after basketball that I'm most proud about in that 1 year being there. And currently, I'm the head coach for the varsity team here in Peoria at Glendale Prep Academy. And we just got a win last night too. So I'm thankful for that as well. Like Dwight said, they're hard to come by. And other than that, just being a dad, that's my coolest thing now. So.
Well, that's certainly a proud moment. And thank you for sharing that.
Oh, and last thing, I know those guys are from, we got Denver, we got Texas. I'm representing the West Coast from California, Southern California. Wanted to make sure I put that out there.
Got to make sure we got Cali in every one of these.
Yeah.
Because Cali's important to see you.
It is.
Recruiting and academics and athletics.
There you go.
Carlin, you were named the Pac-12 Conference Tournament's most outstanding player. What was that like? You came here your senior year, you joined us from Utah. What was that like to come in and have such phenomenal success in your 1 year with us? You really did some great things.
It was amazing. I'd be lying to say if it wasn't a great moment, especially considering the factors that you just said. Like I transferred my junior year going into my senior year, which rarely happens. And not knowing that CU was going to even be in the Pac-12, because when I got there, like I said, Dwight was my host and they were still in the Big 12. So red shirting, sitting out that year, I got to learn a lot about Coach Boyle and his system. I had to learn about the culture and where the program was trying to head. And then to see my risk that I took, so to speak, transferring that last year, pay off and have a great finish and ending, it meant a lot to me and my family. So a lot of fun and something I'll never forget.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And
Thank you.
You've got a note of distinction between the 3 gentlemen here on the panel. you were inducted into the CU Athletic Hall of Fame in 2018, representing CU men's basketball. What was that like for you? What was the experience? What was it like to get the call that you were being inducted into the CU Athletics Hall of Fame? And then what was that evening like for you?
Well, it was really pretty amazing. I was at work and I got a call from Rick George, letting me know that I had been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I about fell out. It was really very humbling to hear him let me know about this, and the whole event was just is unbelievable to how first class it was to be there with other inductees. Charlie Gardner went in. Charlie was a former teammate of mine. Steve Sidwell went in. He went to Denver East High School and played football at CU, and I played football with his brother Dave. And just to, when you're going to the basketball games, you always walk past the pictures of all the people that are in the Hall of Fame, and it's really, as I use the word, very humbling. And now to think that my picture is up there also, I'm very appreciative of that. And as I said, the CU event itself was just first class. It was really very amazing, well attended, lots of people, and it was just a great honor.
That's wonderful. Sorry about that. It is a signature event at the Alumni Sea Club, and if you've never attended, I would hope that each of you would take an opportunity to attend. It's a very magical night.
Hey, Kimberly, if I can cut in here real quick, Dwight brought this up, but I'm remiss also in saying that I met my wife at CU, and we've been married for 53 years. So
wow, congratulations.
A long time.
I want to be like you when I grow up, Chuck.
There you go.
Well, if Ryan Christ, who is the head of the CU Boulder Alumni Association, was on the call, he would be saying that is a Forever Buffs love story. And that is wonderful to hear that both of you met your wives. I'm still holding out to meet my Forever Buff. So wherever he is, if you're listening, I'm right here. I think something that I read about you, Dwight, that I think was kind of cool is you were selected as one of the 10 NC2A Division I student athletes to participate in the Athletes in Action team, a one-week competitive international tour. And you got to play against teams in Poland and Berlin. What was that like to go abroad and play collegiate basketball against other people your age?
It was a great experience. I always wanted, my goal growing up was always to play professional basketball, whether that was be an NBA or be in Europe. And I was able to accomplish that as I graduated. But when I went over there my freshman year, what it did was it kind of gave me some insight to what the European international game was like, which is completely different from the American game. The physicality, the way that the rules are played, the way that the defense is played, like it is a different game. Obviously, at the end of the day, the goal is to put the basketball into the basket, but the game within the game is completely different. So getting a chance to go over there to Europe and talk about my faith with other people, and also play the game of basketball, which I truly love. Sorry, my son's in the background. Which I truly love was definitely the best of both worlds, and it helped prepare me for my basketball career post when I graduated. And I think the last thing I can say about it is, who wouldn't want to go to Europe and travel as an 18-year-old and see different parts of the world and get to enjoy some different experiences as a young man? So it was a great experience.
That's very cool. And I'm glad you had that opportunity. I always think it's great when our student athletes get to either play in a tournament or go to another country. Our men's basketball team got to go to China, a year and a half ago. So that was a neat experience too. And as for your son, he's just looking for his 15 minutes of fame. So that's fine with us. We're happy to give it to him. Carlin, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and swing back to you. You also have a tremendous amount of international experience playing basketball. So you took some really cool paths. Would you like to share a little bit about your post-collegiate journey and where you went, where you played?
Yeah, like Dwight, I was fortunate enough to fulfill a childhood dream of playing professionally, and like Chuck as well. So I started after I left CU. I played summer league for the Charlotte Bobcats, and then from there I went to training camp and preseason with the Golden State Warriors. At that time, this was pre-dynasty as we know it today, and Mark Jackson was the coach. And then from that, played 1 year in the G League. Did pretty well there. Then I went to Israel. I led Israel in scoring in the first division league. Came back to play summer league with the Nuggets, and then I played my final 2 years in Germany. So yeah, a little bit of a world tour, definitely. A lot of gear shifting, a lot of sacrifices for myself and my wife, but at the end of the day, I don't regret any of it. It was worth it, and it helped me become who I am today.
That's wonderful. And Chuck, your path professionally, you got to stick around Denver a lot. You're kind of like maybe you're the inspiration for another guy from South High, Mr. Philip Lindsay, who came out of a Denver high school, went to Colorado, and then played locally too. So how about your path professionally after collegiate basketball?
Well, I played for 8 years, and I played most of my career in the old ABA, and a couple of years in the NBA after they had consolidated the leagues. I was fortunate enough to be able to play with Denver when they were known as the Denver Rockets, and also was able to. I was let go in an expansion draft, went to San Diego, but a couple of years later, I was brought back to Denver when they were the Nuggets, and which was a great team at that time. I played with three Hall of Famers: David Thompson, Dan Issel, and Bobby Jones, and great memories. Played against a lot of great players. Ended my career with the NBA. Had to call it a day because of some injuries, but a great experience and a lot of friendships, from that time period.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So as far as, can I have one favorite memory from your playing days at CU from each of you? And I'm going to start with you, Dwight.
I kind of touched on earlier my sophomore year we beat Oklahoma, I think, when they were top 10 in the country. I want to say they had I don't know the record specifically, but they made it undefeated at that point. And we beat them in Boulder. It was a really good crowd, and a really good game. And it kind of let us know that we can compete in the Big 12 when we were struggling my freshman year. And Carlin, no offense to you, man, but the Big 12 was a man's league. And we realized that day, in that game.
All right, Carlin, I'll let you respond to that and maybe share your favorite memory from your time playing in CU men's basketball.
Yeah, I will say, the Big 12 was definitely a stronger league, but I wasn't the league commissioner, Dwight. I didn't make the shift. I had no control over that. Right? I had no control. I just played who was in front of me. But one of my better memories was it was a practice before we played UNLV in a tournament, and we had just got done winning 4 games in 4 days in LA, and we had flew out after Selection Sunday. I think 2 days later, we get to Albuquerque, and we're kind of tired, so we go through that practice, and it was an awful practice. And coach was so worried. He was so nervous. He was pretty pissed that we weren't practicing well. And he was like, "All right, you guys want to come down here and waste people's time and show up and lay an egg tomorrow? That's on you." But deep down in our hearts, we knew we would be ready for the game. So we come out, and we had that same type of intensity, we had that same type of momentum that carried over from LA, traveled with us to Albuquerque, and we had a great matchup against UNLV, and we handled business. And he was like, after the game, he was like, "Well, I guess I was wrong about yesterday. Let's try to get another one tomorrow." So that was definitely one of my other favorite moments outside of winning the Pac-12 championship.
Very cool. And Chuck, would you share one of your favorite memories with us, please?
Well, I played back when it was the Big Eight, so it was even tougher then. And
The grown man's league.
there you go. And as it is now, the Kansas and Kansas State were really the cream of the crop, always winning. But my senior year, and I had a pretty good senior year up at CU, and we played Iowa State, which had a couple of guys that went to the pros at the next year on that team. They were one of the highly ranked teams. They came into Boulder, and for some reason I got a little happy and threw 38 points at them, and we won. And so that was certainly a highlight for me.
Well, that sounds like.
Can I ask, were you doing that in Chuck Taylor's? Chuck, all pun intended. All pun intended.
Probably so. I used to love we all used to love the smell of those things when we opened the box.
There you go. There you go.
That's funny. Well, Chucks are very in style right now.
That's right.
So we are going to shift gears, and we're going to bring Pam back, and she's going to educate us on how the trivia game is going to be played. Now, there are prizes. So if you want to play and win a prize, you want to go into the chat, and there is a link that's going to take you to AHA Slides. It's outside Zoom, but you're not really leaving. We're all right here. So Pam's going to take us out, explain how the trivia will work, and then we're going to come back, and we've got Q&A for our 3 guests. I see a lot of, okay, the Nuggets just lost. Sorry about that. I see a lot of questions. If you've got one, put it in there, and we're going to get to them right after trivia. So take it away, Pam.
Great. Thanks so much, Kimberly. So as she mentioned, there's a link in the chat. I just shared my screen so you can see we've got 5 people in right now. So follow that link in the chat. If you want to play on your phone, you can also type in ahaslides.com/MBB. Wait for this to populate a little bit more. We'll go through, we have 5 questions today. And what will happen is it'll pop up the question on your screen. I'll read it aloud, and then it'll give you, I believe it's 20 to 25 seconds to answer. You'll select your answer. We'll show the answers, and at the end of it all, again, as Kimberly said, there will be some prizes. So we've got 9 people in here, 10. All right, we're gonna give it 1 more minute. I do wanna say that both myself, I graduated in 2012, and so I was there during that great year that Carlin played in. I actually worked for the athletic department, so they sent us down as a thank you for all of our work, and it was quite a fun weekend. Quite a good time to be a Buff fan. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We got 12 people in here right now. You can also join once we get going. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the quiz. Okay, question 1. How many Buffs on the current roster are from the state of Colorado? We have 4 options. Head in on your computer, select what you believe the answer, and then click submit, and it'll get your answer logged in there for you. From Colorado. Okay, 1 second left. The correct answer is 7. Looks like we got 1 who got that right. 7 current Colorado kids on our team. Okay, and 2. I wish I had some fun trivia music in the background. That is Evans Major, one of the, we've a wonderful guy team, but the most fun. He interviewed and being around, and he's a fun guy. So what is Evans Major? Your options: sociology, kinesiology, broadcast journalism, or advertising? Broadcast journalism, good job. I wondered if that one would be an easy one. I know he's joked before at some Buff Bells luncheons that he's coming from on some jobs, so hopefully I'll see him there someday. Questions? Had 11 seasons with 20 plus wins. How many seasons has he coached had? So how many 20-win seasons have come under our current coach, Mr. Boyle? seasons and is for sure. Okay. 7. All right. We might have a few winners this time. I think last time we had 3 winners at trivia. Our women had like 7. Okay. Next question. Alice Walton's uncle was a 3-year letter winner in CU sports: basketball, baseball, football, or track and field. For those of you that have been going to a lot of men's football games in the past few years, know the Walton family is at everything. As a staff member, it's been pretty fun. They come to all of our events, and we've gotten to know that family pretty well. So Dallas's uncle. All right, we got some good answers. We got some good Buffs trivia fans. Okay, we're on the last question. Rick George originally began working at CU in what year? Okay, we got 4 options down here. Rick, we had an event, Forever Gold Group, and he was sharing some fun basketball memories and some fun times. Him and Tad, when they get together, sure are a lot of laughs. Okay, time's up. Final answer, 1987. Good job. Thought it was kind of a trick question in there, but we got some good fans. All right, let's see. Our winner. I will reach out to you this week. We'll get a prize in the mail to you. I see some familiar names on that board one at our last event as well. So we got some good trivia. Right, thank you all for playing. I'm gonna throw it back to Kimberly, and we're gonna get back to our wonderful weather.
All right.
Hey, can I say one
Brad?
quick thing?
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
I think Pam said she was there for the 2012 run, and it was funny. I was up at like 5 in the morning, the day of the championship game, and I remember vividly Mike Bone in the lobby calling every booster in his phone, trying to get them to come to LA, trying to get every student he knew to come to LA to be there for a championship game. It was a lot of fun, and we really appreciated that. It was Coors Event Center West.
That is awesome. Yep, the Cali connection is very, very strong, and that's a great thing. So we are going to shift gears, and we're going to run through some of the questions that people have put in the chat. So I am searching right now. Gary Jackson seems to be quite the big basketball fan. Thanks for joining us, Gary. Gary asks, this is for Chuck. Did Chuck Williams dunk in a Big 8 game? You want to take that one?
I dunked in warm-ups, but never dunked in the game.
Good to know. And then Gary has another question for the group. Who was the toughest guard to defend in the Big 8 when you were playing? Chuck, this it looks like it's targeted for you too. It says Chuck, oh, that's the second question. Okay, so who is the toughest guard to defend in the Big 8?
Well, actually, there were 2 when I was playing, and both played. All 3 of us played in the pros, but there was a guy by the name of JoJo White from Kansas. JoJo went on to play for the Celtics for many years and won a few championships with them. And then there was another guy by the name of Stu Lance, who played in Nebraska, and he played for the Lakers for quite some time. Long-time broadcaster for them. So those 2 guys definitely were the toughest for me.
That's great. We've got.
I don't think they enjoyed playing me though either.
It's. I'm sure they didn't, based on the bio I've seen. We've got a Kansas alumnus on this call right now. In fact, Mr. Scott McMichael from the CU Buff Club is on the call, but I don't see that his audio is connected. But he's a Hall of Famer from Kansas. So if he connects, we'll have to ask him a question.
Scott's been in Boulder so long, he might as well be a Buff.
Exactly, right? I think
Right.
I know at least half the people on this call know Scott, because I've seen you at events with Scott and our team. Chuck, we have another question for you. Chuck played for several great coaches, two of whom have passed, Casey Jones and John Chaney. Tell us what you learned from those coaches about basketball and, more importantly, life.
Well, Kate, I played for a few teams. Casey Jones, if I'm sure everybody knows maybe, but Casey played for the Celtics, and he won and coached the Celtics. He's probably got about 12 world championship rings. Casey was the coach. He started off in the ABA with the San Diego team there, and we became friends. I learned a lot about basketball and life after games, and actually during that time we would meet up and have his favorite drink was scotch and water, and so we'd sit there at the bar and just talk about life, talk about basketball, things that he wanted me to do, and it's really very saddened that he's passed away. He was a great man and just a mild-mannered person. John Chaney, on the other hand, these are Hall of Fame coaches. John Chaney was a coach for me in the old, what they call the Baker League. And this is in Philadelphia. It was a pro-am league where all the big time players and amateurs would play. I played there one summer, and John Chaney was my coach, and he was a wild man. He coached the Temple for a long time. He taught. I was always a good defensive player, but going to the pros was a whole different ball game. And so he worked with me on playing defense, and he was always on me to shoot the ball. If I didn't, he would really get on me. And he's just one of those guys that has touched a lot of lives in basketball. A lot of players played under him, and it's really too bad to see him pass away also.
Well, that's wonderful that you shared that. I'm sure his family would be blessed to know that you said those wonderful things about him. Yeah. Our next question is for Carlin. Carlin, the run in Los Angeles to the Pac-12 title was incredible. At what point during the 4-game sprint did you guys realize you had a shot to win the whole thing?
We kind of knew we had a shot once we saw the bracket come out. For us, it was as long as we didn't have to see UCLA or Stanford in that tournament because of the matchup with their size, we were going to have a shot. And then it really became clear after we beat Oregon because we had done pretty well against Cal the whole year, both on the road and at home. And then with Arizona, we felt comfortable with that matchup as well. So it was really after the Oregon game, once we got past that, because that was a 1-point game. And I think we were down with like 2 minutes to go. So it could have went either way, but we gritted it out and got it done.
That's great. That's a beautiful memory. Dwight, the next question is for you. It looks like we have someone asking, when will TBT be back and will Team Colorado be back? Do you want to explain to people what TBT is first?
You're bringing up some dreadful, terrible memories. TBT is short for the basketball tournament. It's essentially a adult AAU tournament where the winner gets $2 million. And one unique thing about the University of Colorado is we've been one of the 4 or 5 teams to strictly have an alumni team where former players play in it. And it's been really great. Bo Gamble, I'm sure you guys are familiar with, organized it to begin with. And he's kind of ushered into the new age. My first 3 years, I coached a team, and it was kind of the old guys. And this new crop of guys taking it over now, I think it's going to usher it into, the year 2021 and beyond. And we were fortunate enough to make it to the championship game in 2015, 2016, which was one of the best memories I've had in my recent life. I got married, I got a new job, and I was pretty close to winning $150,000, but unfortunately fell short. So I think that they will be back next year. Nate Tomlinson's probably going to lead the troops. And I think that they always have a good chance to win because of so many good players playing in the TBT. And maybe Carlin will jump back into the saddle and help Nate coach like he did with me one year as well. So always
funny.
a good time playing TBT.
That's one of the questions. Will Carlin jump in and play TBT? That is.
Man, I wish I could. I wish I could. Like Chuck, my career ended pretty early because of knee injuries, and I could probably play one game and then I have to sit out for a week to let my body recover. And that's not how the TBT works. But otherwise, yeah, like Dwight said, I'll probably assist Nate on the bench, hopefully as a coach, and give my expertise from that standpoint.
That's awesome. We have another question for you, Carlin. Devin wants to know what it was like to play in Israel. Is Israel a big basketball country?
Yeah, it is. That's a great question. It was amazing. I think people have this idea from what we learned on TV and what we see maybe on CNN or Fox News that the Middle East is always being bombarded and attacked with bombs and war going on, and civil unrest. But when you get over there and you see it for yourself up close and personal, these people are living as happy lives as we are here. They got great weather, great food, great beaches, and great basketball. So it was probably the best basketball I played as an individual of my life, high school basketball and professionally all together. And definitely a time I wish I could definitely go back to right now and relive that. So basketball in Israel is amazing. The fans are incredible, and it's a lot of fun.
That's very cool. I was very intrigued when I read that in your bio. I said, that is pretty cool. I didn't know basketball was played at that level in Israel. So thank you for getting all of us. Another question, also from Devin, Carlin, is what made you decide to transfer to CU?
Oh man, I might have to go get some of that John Chaney special or the other one, the Scotch and water to talk about this. But long story short, it was just a kind of a mutual feeling between myself and my coaching staff at Utah, where I was 19, I was 20. I wasn't really understanding what they were wanting of me. I wasn't equipped to handle the challenges they were pushing towards me, and I kind of backed away. And there were some other things that were going on off the court that I felt like I wasn't able to become a young man. So all in all, I felt it was my time to try something new and finish out my last year playing, hopefully winning, because we had a really bad junior year, my time at Utah, because we won my sophomore year, we won the Mountain West Championship. And we came back and only won 13 games the next year. And I just had a lot of frustration, a lot of battles going on between myself and the coach, and just a lot of things. I was still growing up and developing as a young man, and I needed to make the best move for me. And CU came up. It was close to Salt Lake, so I didn't have to move far. And Coach Boyle was coming in, and I always joke with Dwight and Corey, I don't know if I would have came had Jeff still been there. And that's no discredit to him, but I know how those guys really wanted to play. And when Coach Boyle came in with that new offense, it was definitely exciting. And we saw the results right away with that first year. So that's why I transferred.
That's great. And it sounds like you got to be a part of recent history that all of us remember and appreciate. So thank you. Chuck, we've got one for you. And Benjamin would like to know, what was it like to play in Bulch Fieldhouse?
I tell you, at the time, it was so long ago that there wasn't a lot of sports competition. You didn't have the Nuggets and the Broncos. And so CU basketball was big time. And that little place only held 6,000, I think, 6,000 or 7,000, if you can imagine 6,000 or 7,000 people there. But it was like a prize fight. It was unbelievable, and I enjoyed my time coming down from the old locker rooms upstairs, and then coming down to that raised floor that they had. Was I really enjoyed it, and they had some big time basketball games played in that big time. So long ago, and I don't know if these guys even know where Bulch Fieldhouse is.
When I was there, Chuck, they used to put the old practice floor down. We would practice in there from time to time.
Really?
So, yep.
I never practiced in there, but we used to hoop in there. We used to play pickup in there.
Yep. So I know exactly where it's at, and I have played in there. Now to imagine 6,000 or 7,000 people in there, that is crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
You're right.
Did you guys
That's-
practice in the gym upstairs? Was that
Yes.
gym there? It was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe
Yeah,
it or
well,
not,
they had the freshmen practice up there. No, we in the varsity practice right there on the floor there in Balch Fieldhouse.
nice.
That's where we played games, and that was our practice place too.
Back in 2006, before they built the new practice facilities, my very first collegiate practice was in there in that gym.
Wow.
So Kimberly, you guys got to get on the phone with Rick. Say the throwback jerseys are one thing. Now we got to put them back in the throwback gym and have a special night.
That's a great event idea. And you've got some event planners on staff here listening in very closely.
All right, tell them to give me a call if they need more details.
All right, Carlin, I've got your number now. We got a couple more questions here. Michelle wants to know if any of you feel that the altitude was an advantage playing at home or not really a factor. How was that when teams came to see you? And Dwight, you want to take that one?
I can say yes, because firsthand, my freshman year, I played against my cousin and here in Boulder, as he was at Texas A&M. And I think, when you're in shape as an athlete, doesn't play a big factor, but it definitely takes that first wind away from you extremely quick when you come play and you're playing in a fast pace. Now, how quickly you recover, that's got to do with your endurance, but it definitely takes away your first wind and that initial shock of, Jesus, this is high. And then it becomes a mental game. Are you strong enough to push through it, or do you succumb to the fatigue? So I think yes.
I think it also depends on the style of basketball that you played. You guys played more up and down kind of game, where ours was much more conservative. It was a slower pace. The Sox ran a shuffle offense, a lot of picking and cutting, and so we weren't up and down. And I don't think altitude mattered that much at that time. But if it's a fast pace and you're getting it up and down, and obviously when I was playing with the Nuggets, that's how Larry Brown wanted to play, and we'd run teams out in the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a consensus across the board. I think when you play at Boulder, you play at Utah, you play at Albuquerque, and you play at Wyoming, those are some hard places for your lungs to really recruit that second wind, like Dwight was saying. And like Chuck was saying, it just all depends on how fast you're pushing the pace, how fast you're pushing the tempo. I remember we played Oregon State, and like Chuck said, that second half they were done. We didn't win that game by 30. And Oregon came in here, they were huffing and puffing. We were throwing lives to Dre. I mean, yeah, it definitely makes a difference, but you got to make sure you're in shape for it as a team that's trying to take it as an advantage.
That's great commentary. Our next question is for Dwight and Carlin. What has Tad Boyle meant to each of you? You want to start that, Carlin?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just his consistency, both on and off the court, how he does things, how he carries himself, and how he's always trying to get the best out of his players. So I try to teach my guys now that I'm a high school coach. So just seeing his consistency, seeing him not get too high, not get too low, his calm demeanor for the most part. He's not gonna curse you out like a lot of other coaches. He's just gonna demand respect, demand you go hard and excellence, but he also is positive in that reinforcement as well.
Dwight, do you have anything to add?
Just for me, now being a collegiate coach and aspiring to be, as good as Coach Boyle, if that's in the cards for me, seeing his consistency, seeing how he treats his players, and seeing the foundation of the program he has built here at Colorado. As an alumni, as a former player, you always want to see your school be successful. And Tad's done a really good job of maintaining a standard for CU basketball that wasn't there before him. So really appreciative of him for that. And I'm always will root for the Colorado Buffaloes.
That's great. I couldn't agree with you more. That's fabulous. Our next question from Sarah Sturkle is, as coaches, What is your advice to players who get into a shooting funk mid-game to keep them from losing their focus and on other aspects of the game? So whoever wants to start that, how do you coach them up when things get a little funky in the middle?
I think it depends on if they're a good shooter or not. If they're a good shooter, I'm gonna tell them to keep shooting. If they are an average shooter, I might tell them, let's get involved in other aspects of the game. But the main thing is don't let one mistake compound to the next mistake, right? Basketball is a fast-paced game. Everything happens quickly, offensively and defensively. So the key is to recover, not making shots. How else can you get involved in the game, and how can you impact our team and help our team to win, right? Scoring is one aspect. Are you rebounding? Are you defending? Are you sharing the basketball? Are you doing all those things? Are you being a good teammate? So if somebody gets to a funk middle of the game, encourage them to do all the other small things. You only have the ball in your hand 95% of the game on average. So what are you doing with your other 95%?
Great question. Coach
I
Brown,
would
what do you
I
think?
would say, yeah, I would say kind of like Dwight is saying, it depends on what their skill set is. It also depends on, what kind of work they're putting in. Are they actually working on these shots that they're taking? And if it's just one of those nights where it's off, then try to affect the other games or try to get easy buckets, we like to say. So get layups, attack the offensive glass, get tip ins, make free throws. There's a certain
Right.
chemical release and dopamine effect as a basketball player when you see that ball go through the net. So once you see it happen once, you know it can happen again. It's just how are you making it happen? Are you doing it the right way? Are you taking good shots? Things of that nature, and just never give up. You've done this. You've done this game. You put in so many reps. So many reps. Trust it. Trust it.
Chuck, would you like to add anything to that?
Well, I mean, I just from a personal standpoint, the guys have mentioned a lot of good things, but whenever I got into a shooting funk, my deal was to try to up the energy level, try to play harder. I mean, it becomes a real mental thing, and when you're shooting well, that basket looks pretty big, but when you're not, it shrinks up, and so it becomes a mental thing. And my thing was always to play harder, play defense, as the guys were saying, rebound, get out on the break where you're not thinking as much. It just comes to you. And I always tried to get to the basket and draw fouls, stop the game, shoot free throws, and then things started to open up. So just becoming more active within the game.
That's great. Our final question is going to be a request from all of us to share something for our current team, whether it's a message you would give to the coaching staff or the players. I'm going to start with you, Dwight. What is one thing you would like to share, a word of encouragement as we're heading into the final leg of the season and looking ahead to the Pac-12 tournament and the NC2A tournament? So Dwight, what would you share with our team?
I would tell the coaching staff and the players, continue to have fun, continue to play together, and continue to care for one another. I think as you watch the games and you see it from a different lens, you can see these guys truly care about the success of the guys to their left and their right. So in order to keep that up, just continue to care for one another, continue to play hard, play together. And if there's any year to be special, this is the year, because there's so many things that are unpredictable. So control your controllables.
That's great. Carlin, what would you add?
Mine is more of a challenge as opposed to encouraging words. I think from the outside looking in, playing for Coach Boyle and understanding our success, when we first got there, took off with Corey and Alex group, my group, we won the championship, made tournament after tournament. But now that trajectory is kind of here. It's kind of here. It's kind of here. So I would like to challenge the guys to be better than my group. And I've said this challenge before. I would like to see our team do more than just win one game in the NCAA tournament, which we haven't done since my group. And I would like to see our team, like Dwight said, focus on the controllables. Don't worry about the rankings. Don't worry about who respects Colorado basketball or not. Do what you're supposed to do, and all those things will come. But I don't know what we need to push ourselves over that hump. But I'm striving and I'm hoping that our program is going for excellence and greatness, not just settle and happy with mediocrity and winning 20 games. We could check it off the list. We've done that now. let's take this thing to the next level.
Great, great words. And Chuck, what would you share with our current team and coaching staff?
Well, you know, I had the privilege a while back to be able to talk to the team. And, you know, what I emphasize to them is that, you know, time is going by very quickly. Their collegiate careers and college is going to be over with. They're going to, you know, what they're going through now, and their teammates are they're going to be longtime friends in the future. And so everything happens so quickly. Time passes by so quickly. You got to make the most of it right now, and to give it your all, because you're going to look up and you're going to be graduating. Most of the guys their basketball careers are going to come to an end. There may be one or two guys that may go on and play at the next level. But this could be the end of basketball and going into real life. So, you know, you got to give it your all. So you don't look back and say, I wish I could did this. I wish I could have done that. Maybe that would have made a difference.
All great words of encouragement. And, you know, it's wonderful to have this opportunity to talk with you, alumni athletes. The bridge from student athlete to alumni status is one that I celebrate as the executive director of the Alumni Sea Club every single day. It's just a true blessing to get to have you here. And I really look forward to next year when we have the men's basketball reunion and I can see you in person and we can have a bit of fun. I want to remind everyone we are on a national broadcast tonight. We're on FS1 at 6 p.m. And what we like to do to close out these events is what we like to do in person, and that's sing the CU fight song. So before we shift to that, I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today. Thank you for your awesome questions. I hope you'll attend the next one. We have women's basketball coming up Friday night. Hall of Famer Lisa Van Gore is our guest on Friday night, and I can't wait to see all of you at either the upcoming men's or women's pregame event. Go Buffs.